Hey, we're back. Mind Games of Rodeo. We are on chapter 4 of the program. If you have not seen the first chapters, please go back. Specifically chapter 2, you should start with that one for sure, so that you have an idea what I'm talking about here. I'm going through this book that I wrote, Mind Games of Rodeo, just as a coaching lesson so that I can have this on video and to share with you all. So that's my nephew Rio Lee on there. All right, so I'm going to be reading a little bit and discussing with you a little bit about what's going on in this book and showing you, and this one has some diagrams for you to look at to help understand what I'm talking about here. So ask yourself, what do I believe? Write down some of your most cherished beliefs and then ask yourself, why do you believe that? So think about that for a minute. What are some of the things that you hold to be true beliefs? A lot of times it's religion or politics or the way that you think about other people. Sometimes people think differently about certain classes of people or people that live in certain parts of the country, all kinds of things. What are the beliefs that you hold to be very, very true? Now, think about that. Why do you believe that? Where did that belief come from? You probably did not originate that belief. You inherited it. Just like we talked about the little mind, all of that information was going in there. It's part of those beliefs that you had are a part of the paradigm of group culture. When you get past culture, people are basically all the same. We're all the same. We're very much equal. We are all spiritual beings that have intellect that live in a physical body. Okay, don't freak out, but just think about that. You have a spirit, the spirit of you. You live in a physical body and you have an intellect. You understand things. You can think about things. Okay. We have the ability to completely change our life by changing our paradigm or our belief system. Why? Because thoughts become things. What you think about in your conscious mind becomes your program in your subconscious mind or your belief system, and your program, your body, your computer must act like your program. It has no other choice. And then, of course, the results that you get are in relation to the action that you take. We have the ability, again, to change our life by changing our paradigm. And by life, I mean anything. I mean your sport. I mean your parenting skills, the way that you interact with friends, the things that you do. You have that power. You owe it to yourself to gain understanding of this programming. You cannot change something unless you understand how it works. And that is the whole point of this book. That is the whole point of pretty much why I exist on the planet. This is my purpose, is to help people to understand their own, who they are, basically their value and their worth in the world, which translates into their self-image, which translates into their action and what they do as a result of their belief system. Okay. You owe it to yourself to gain understanding of this programming. You were designed to be successful, but you have got to know yourself first. Know thyself. You have to understand who you are and who you were created to be. You have this success mechanism. When you were a baby, you didn't just quit walking the first time you fell down. You're like, okay, I'm going to keep going. I can get up and I can do it again. And so you walked a little bit farther, and it might hurt because you fell on your bahonkus, but you kept going. You have this innate sense of a success mechanism, wanting to be, do, and have more. That's okay. That's created in you, and that is a part of you. It's okay to want to win. It's okay to want to have more. It's okay to want to do more, to achieve more, to be greater at what you are. That is great. We are supposed to be that way. If we weren't, we wouldn't have anything on this planet. I mean, we would barely know how to garden for ourselves. So think about that. We are created with this success mechanism to be able to, or to want to continue and to do more. All right, so we're talking about a paradigm. It's spelled Paradigm, and it's not two dimes. It is a paradigm, or your belief system. And it's that little voice in there, your belief system, your subconscious, that controls all of our results. Paradigms are nothing more than a series of habits that are stuck in our subconscious mind. So a series of habits that are stuck in your subconscious. If we are going to rewrite our program or our paradigm to reflect the kind of results that we really, really want, we must know how to change that paradigm. But we first must understand how the program is written. We have been conditioned or programmed through a repetition of ideas. There are two ways in this world that we learn things. And one of them is that it keeps coming back. It's repeated to us over and over and over again. Or the other way is if there's a dramatic emotional event, like, for instance, a car wreck. That is a dramatic, instantaneous event, and that programs us in a certain way. It doesn't have to repeat itself because it's dramatic. Okay. So we have been conditioned through the repetition of ideas. Repetition is how we learn. We have been conditioned genetically, our DNA, that's part of our conditioning, and environmentally. Genetics tell us what we will look like, and our environment will tell us who we become. Why? Because all of our information goes into our conscious mind through our senses. If a baby is born in Ireland, but moved to live in the United States with an American family, they would grow up learning English because they are programmed with their environment. The information that is repeatedly taken in as an infant, remember, in the tiny mind, in the little mind, becomes that belief system. This is why kids can learn 4 languages at once before they're just open. They're like little sponges, and they just gather up all this information. They can learn anything. They're like, there's not stuff in there to crowd it out. Okay. Did you notice I'm repeating things to you? There's a reason for that. I just told you repetition of ideas is how you really learn things. In order to change the belief system, we have to change the program. Here's another way to look at it. Okay, here's our mental master again. The conscious mind is where the program begins. That's the programmer. It says he decides to enter or delete the idea. We have talked about that. Here's the idea. It's going to enter in through all the senses, and then the programmer is going to decide if it is going to enter or delete. Okay? All right. The conscious mind is where the program begins. An idea is formed about anything. Let's say that the idea is that you cannot get good grades on tests. If you're an adult, let's go back to your childhood days. And, well, I'm not a good test taker. So many people think this. The idea comes into the conscious mind or the programmer. The programmer decides, is this an idea I want to accept or reject? If that idea is accepted, it will transfer down into the subconscious mind or program, where it becomes a belief or your self-image. The idea is now a belief that it is true that you cannot get good grades on tests. So see, here it is. The idea comes in, the programmer decides, I'm going to accept that idea. It comes down here into the program or the paradigm, and then it controls what happens right here in the body. So the belief at this point is that I cannot get good grades on tests. We know that once that idea is accepted into the subconscious mind and becomes truth, it must be acted upon according to that program. Just like the computer, it has to act according to its program. Your body has no choice but to act just like the program tells it. Once you accept an idea and add emotion to it or belief to it, you will act according to the program that is written for you. If you believe that you are a bad test taker, you will be a bad test taker. Your body will automatically react to that. You might know every answer on the test. You might have studied forever, but you have this belief, oh my gosh, I can't take tests. I'm a bad test taker. Voila, that is what will happen because your belief system, your program is controlling what actually happens in the outcome. Yep, the results reflect your actions. You get terrible results on those tests. Why? Because your program told you to. You can choose what goes on in here. Remember that. You get to choose that. You get to decide if you want to believe that. Once you accept it, you cannot change that idea through your subconscious mind. Once it's accepted here, it must be acted upon. So that program sends that command to the computer or to the body, and when you go to take the test, the action is taken, and the results are always what the program dictates. If you go into the arena and you believe, I have a story. If you believe that you are a 13-second goat tire, so my 9-year-old client that I was telling you about before, this was his story. He said, well, I tie goats in 13 seconds. And I said, well, what would you like to tie goats in? He said, well, I think I would like to tie them in 11 seconds. Okay. Change your belief. He no longer told himself that he tied goats in 13 seconds. He began to tell himself that he would tie goats in 11 seconds. He's 9. This is one story. I have so many stories like this. He's 9. He went to the next junior rodeo. Lo and behold, oh, and by the way, he threw in, I'm also going to get 100% on my next math test. Okay, perfect. I love that. So he went to the next rodeo. Guess what happened? He decided, he made a decision which idea he wanted to accept. He accepted the idea, you know what, I can tie goats in 11 seconds. And then he started to get excited about that. He put that in his subconscious mind and he was excited, like, you know what, I am going to tie goats in 11 seconds by George. And guess what happened? He did. He tied his goat in 11 seconds and voila. Not to mention the idea that he also got the 100 on his math test. It's so easy. A child can do it. So just think about that the next time you're deciding what ideas you want to put into your head about your performance, whatever it is, whatever that performance is. He didn't say, well, my horse can't do it. Nope. He said, I'm going to run this in 11 seconds. And he did. That was it. Very simple. So that is the program. So in the Think It Through questions, I want you to answer these questions. Think about this for a minute. But what if the idea, going back to the test taking, what if the idea was that you always get good results on tests? Have you ever known a kid like that? Oh, tests are easy for me. I can ace them all the time. What if you accepted that idea as truth or as your belief instead? What would your results look like then? So now outside of the test taking, how can you apply these results in your life? What if you want to be a better parent? What if you want to be a better, whatever you do at work? What if you want to be a better employee? You have the power because thoughts become things. You get to choose what you want to think about. You get to choose what you accept. You get to decide what kind of emotion you want to add to it. Hopefully you want to Believe the things that you want, accept the things that you want, add an awesome emotion to the things that you really, really want. This is also a thing why we focus on what we want and not what we don't want. So that is how the program is written initially. Next chapter, we're going to talk about rewriting the program. We can do it. It's easy. I mean, it's easy. It seems hard. We make it hard. But in all reality, it's a very simple process, and we can do it. I love this stuff. This is so exciting for me to be able to share this with you, because if you get this, I have client after client after client. I'm college age, 9 years old, 13 years old, adult who has been programmed one way, heavy duty, all kinds of ages, all kinds of events, barrel racing, goat tying, team roping, bareback riding. Pick something. It doesn't matter. All of those things, same thing. Your brain is the same. It still all works. Your mind works the same way. That's the exciting news about this. You can decide the results that you want to get. Love it. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Chapter 5, rewriting the program, here in a few minutes. And if you need some more information about kind of what we do at Tenney Training, then you can go to tenneytraining.com and find out. My husband's on there also. He trains horses and rodeos, and trains people in rodeo. He also coaches people just like I do, just from a little bit of a different perspective, because he actually competes and I just focus on the mind. So he does both. All right, so I'm excited. We'll see you on the next round and Chapter 5 coming up.